Welcome to the deep dive. You've probably spent some time swiping on dating apps, haven't you?
Oh, for sure. It's pretty much everywhere now.
Exactly. So today, we're kind of looking under the hood of that whole experience, using evolutionary psychology as our lens.
Yeah, we've pulled together some really interesting stuff looking at our, ancient drives,
hmm
insights from folks like David Buss, Helen Fisher.
Jeffrey Miller, too. And the big question we're tackling is, is this swipe culture a totally radical shift from how humans have always courted?
Or is it just a new stage for those same old evolutionary impulses?
That's the mission today, figuring out how our deep-seated preferences actually show up when you're swiping left or right.
It's kind of wild to think that those split-second choices could be driven by forces that shaped our ancestors millions of years ago.
Okay, so maybe let's rewind a little first. Our sources talk a lot about sexual selection. It's not just about survival, right? It's about who gets to reproduce.
Precisely. And that happens in two main ways. Competing with rivals.
Like two stags locking horns.
Exactly. And maybe more relevant for apps, intersexual selection, which is basically mate choice, picking someone based on certain desirable traits.
Got it. And parental investment theory comes in here too, doesn't it?
It does. The basic idea is, well, the sex that invests more time and energy in raising offspring, historically, often women tends to be a bit more selective about their partners.
Okay, so maybe explain some differences in selectivity we might see.
Potentially. But it's crucial to remember humans practice mutual mate choice, especially for long-term relationships.
Yeah.
Both men and women are looking for important qualities.
Like kindness, intelligence, reliability, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just one-sided.
So our ancestors faced these big problems. How do you find someone who's fertile, healthy, got good genes, who's going to stick around and maybe provide resources?
And who's likely to be a compatible partner, you
Yeah.
know? And how do you outshine your rivals? Ultimately, evolution cares about reproductive success. That's the currency.
So how do these ancient challenges connect to swiping on Tinder or Hinge? Our sources bring up honest signals.
Right. These are traits that are difficult to fake and reliably indicate some underlying quality, like good health or status.
Like maybe someone's vibrant energy in photos, that's hard to fake consistently.
That could be one, yeah. A signal of vitality. So, looking at what men often prioritize, evolutionarily speaking, the sources point towards signals of health, youth, and fertility.
Which often translates to visual cues, right? Youthfulness, physical attractiveness, things like facial symmetry, clear skin, maybe certain body proportions.
Uh-huh. These are thought to be cues, maybe subconscious ones, that signal reproductive potential and low pathogen load. Good genes, basically. It's interesting how often profile pics highlight these things.
Okay, and flipping that, what about signals women tend to prioritize, according to this perspective?
Well, often it's cues related to status, resources, and the potential for investment.
So things like job titles, education levels, ambition hinted at in the bio, maybe even pictures showing travel or nice things.
Exactly. Those can all function as modern proxies for resource acquisition ability, social standing, and the willingness to invest in a partner or family. Physical indicators like height or strength can play a role too.
And it's not just about money now, right? Resources can mean intelligence, emotional availability.
Absolutely. The definition has broadened, and signals of commitment are huge too.
So dating apps become these digital display cases. We're putting our evolutionary best foot forward.
Sort of, yeah. Photos showcase health and attractiveness signals. Bios, job titles, education sections, they showcase the status and resource side.
But it feels like the digital world could distort these signals too.
Oh, definitely. There's such a heavy reliance on visuals,
Yeah.
photos are easily edited, and it's much harder to convey nuanced things like personality or kindness authentically through a limited profile.
Yeah, you lose a lot of context. Our sources also mention some specific findings from swiping data, like men sometimes emphasizing status cues more.
While women might emphasize attractiveness cues in their photos, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
And interestingly, men seeking long-term relationships might be more likely to show cues of investment, like, say, a picture with a pet.
A subtle signal of nurturing ability.
Perhaps. It shows they can care for something. But even with a fast pace, mate choice isn't simple. It's this complex mix of traits. Experts like Buss stress the universal preferences.
While Fisher notes technology changes the process, but maybe not the core drives.
And Miller points out how tricky it is to signal things like wit or actual intelligence online. It's a challenge.
So we see these patterns, differences in self-presentation, maybe slightly different initial filters.
It brings us back to that central question. Is this evolution remixed or totally replaced?
What's the verdict looking like?
Well, the arguments for continuity are strong. Those core preferences for kindness, intelligence, health, resources, they seem to persist. Profiles are a form of courtship display.
But there are arguments for divergence too, right? The potential for superficiality, the paradox of choice overload. Maybe it hinders commitment.
Exactly. The sheer volume of options might make settling down feel harder. And the digital environment definitely alters how signals are sent and received. Plus, cultural factors always play a huge role.
So it really does sound like an evolutionary remix. The old drives are definitely still in the driver's seat, but they're navigating this completely new digital landscape.
Yeah, you see the familiar patterns, the echoes of our past, but also these genuinely novel dynamics created by the technology itself. The fundamental human needs for connection and partnership are clearly still powering it all.
Which leads to a final thought for you listening. Given how incredibly efficient these apps are at presenting potential partners this huge array of choice.
Could that very efficiency, that abundance, be unintentionally making the prospect of deep, long-term commitment feel, well, more challenging in our modern world? Something to think about.